Hi, my name is Alex, and this week's How to with Alex is how to philosophy. So I think the best way to study philosophy is to apply it to something you can understand. So if you just read about existentialism or nihilism, whatever, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But when you apply these concepts to things that are easy to understand, and it makes it easier to understand. And then when you go back and look at these again, then you see this and you understand it better because of it. It's a very cool thing that happens. So, uh, so what I'm going to apply it to is Batman's rogue gallery. It's a very interesting way to apply this. And to be clear, my inspiration for this was Wisecrack's video on the philosophy of the Joker, but I'm taking it a step further, and I'm going to apply philosophy to villains like the Riddler, Two-Face, Penguin, those guys. So this is more of a homage than a ripoff, if you will. I'll put a link to that video that I referenced previously in the description. It's very good. It talks about how the Joker is a nihilist and that kind of thing, and it's an important distinction to make. Nihilists, well, they don't believe in bad things. They don't believe in the bad side of morals. They don't believe that killing is wrong or that stealing is wrong. But they also don't believe that there is such thing as good things. They don't believe that helping someone somehow means that you're a better person than someone who murders somebody. And that's an important distinction to make, because a lot of people confuse that and they just think that nihilists are just evil because they don't believe in bad things. Being bad, at least. But, so we're going to talk about, the first one we're going to talk about is Two-Face. It's a very obvious one. He makes all his decisions by chance. And this is maybe it's sort of nihilistic. It's a little bit, because he believes in some sort of morality, but at the same time he doesn't think that it's divine law or man-made law. He just thinks that it's just chance. And that's kind of important. So for those of you that don't know, Two-Face is a villain who makes all his decisions by flipping a coin. One side of it is scarred and dented and scratched up and everything. The other side is perfectly clean. And so what he does, if he captured Catwoman, right? He's about to kill her. But before he shoots her, he's going to flip his coin. And if the coin shows the heads up side, which is the clean side, he'll let her go. But if the scratch side comes up, he'll kill her. This is binary law. This is there is no gray area. There is black, there is white, there is a truth, there is a lie, there is good, there is bad. It's kind of simple when you just look at it, but when you go deeper, you start to realize that it gets a little more complex than that, because what are the implications of this? What if everyone thought like this, right? It's not just simple leaving the decision up to chance. It's much more complicated, because if everyone made all their decisions like that, what does that mean? Is there divine law that would prevent us from killing somebody then? Is there what about man-made law? How does that work? What are the implications? If there is no God, which is a view that is out there, I personally am agnostic. I don't know whether there is a God or not, but so if there is no God, then there is no divine law. All law is man-made, which makes it kind of arbitrary, don't you think? And Two-Face kind of embodies agnosticism. He'll literally just toss a coin to make all his decisions. It's very complex. So next we're going to talk about the Penguin, and this section is less about the Penguin's ideology and more about what would happen in a society without morals. So Penguin, for those of you that don't know and don't read comics, is a crime boss who really kind of runs his own underground society in Gotham. In a weird sense, there is some sort of peace under Penguin, because he's an awful person. He kills and tortures and maims and throws people to the sharks for fun. But at the same time, people who are loyal to him, they have a good life. They make lots of money. They get to enjoy all sorts of hedonist pleasures, and it's kind of orderly, almost, until you say something that he doesn't like, then he shoots you. But until that point, it's kind of a good life for people to live under Penguin. It's almost appealing, and this is interesting. I've always found this kind of interesting, because they're a lawless society that does awful things, but they somehow, within that contained community, is almost peaceful, almost, because they're still rapists and killers and drug dealers and stuff. But so I've always found that interesting. And what? So our normal society has laws and protections and civil rights and stuff, and these things prevent people from breaking the laws and discriminating against people. But in a society without laws, they arguably function better than ours. Our society with laws, we have systemic racism in our police system. There isn't really racism in Penguin's society. This might have just been because Gotham is mostly poor white people, but I can see why. Because, see, Penguin doesn't care about who you are. He cares about what you can do for him. If you make Penguin lots of money, he won't care if you're black or white or gay or transgender or male or female. He doesn't care, as long as you can get him what he wants. And this is interesting, because by all accounts, Penguin is a fascist. He executes people he doesn't like, that say things that he doesn't like. He sort of imposes a sort of like opposite of freedom of speech. But at the same time, people are happy, people are productive, and there's no racism or discrimination. So it's kind of interesting, don't you think? But there's no laws other than don't piss off the Penguin. It's very interesting, and it's I don't quite understand it. I'm still contemplating the implications of this, because well, I mean, you can look on the news and see a lot, at least in America. I don't know about other countries. There's some stuff wrong. There's police brutality. There's all sorts of stuff. But in a world without police, there can't be police brutality. So that's my final thought on the Penguin. Now we're going to talk about the Riddler. Okay, the Riddler is a man who dresses in a green pinstripe suit, and he commits horrible acts of torture, sometimes murder, and he will lead Batman on like a scavenger hunt, and sometimes the Flash, but it's a scavenger hunt where he leaves riddles and clues, and it's almost like he wants to be caught. Now, in my opinion, somebody else might disagree with me, the Riddler is what happens when you combine an egomaniac narcissist with a mentally ill person, someone who a severe mental illness, right? So this he's almost sadistic. He seems to enjoy, well, I don't know. From what I've read and seen in the games, the TV shows, the movies, comics, he doesn't enjoy the act of torturing people. He enjoys the act of leading Batman on the chase to see if Batman can figure him out. He does all this stuff in some sort of sick, twisted game to see to see who's better. It's very interesting because the Riddler he's determined to beat Batman, and he thinks that he's perfect. He's convinced of his own brilliance, which he is. He's a genius, and he's got a lot of time on his hands. But he's very lonely, and so he uses his time to almost pathologically leave these clues for Batman. He does it on accident. And in the show Gotham, I stopped watching it because it got boring. At the end of the first season, spoilers by the way, I'll give you a couple seconds to click off. Okay, so at the end of the first season, Mr. Enigma, he kills Tom Doherty, and to cover it up, he leaves Miss Kringle a note that says that Officer Doherty has left town. But the first letter of each row spells out Enigma. And he does this on purpose, of course, naturally. And this is the beginning of his descent into madness. He does this quite often in the second season, where he, at least the beginning, first couple episodes, spoilers again. Okay, he will, when he murders Miss Kringle, his alternate personality kicks in and tells him, hey, yeah, so I'm going to lead you on a scavenger hunt of sorts, and it's a bunch of riddles, and it leads him to the medical examiner's office. And this is when he finally snaps. He turns into the Riddler after he finds his body. And it's that part is probably one of the best things about the show. I've stopped watching after that, but because it just got boring with everything. But that was the best part of that, was watching the Riddler turn into the Riddler. But you also see this in the Arkham games. At least in Arkham City, he leaves, in all the Arkham games, he leaves the Riddler trophies, and the Riddler trophies are your ticket to get into the hostage rooms in Arkham City. They're just trophies in Arkham Asylum, but if you collect them all, you get like a cool ending with them. And Arkham Knight, you've got to find them all and solve all the riddles before you can fight him. Right? And like it's kind of cool how it's like he doesn't want to leave those riddles. He does it compulsively. So it's like his mark, like a serial killer. They have a pattern that they always follow, and this is the Riddler's, but without the killer part. He does this. He leads Batman on a chase, and he's got to prove that he's the best. And I think that's kind of interesting. It's like there's like two sides of him. The side that like enjoys sadistic acts, and the other side side's like calling out for help for Batman to find him and beat the crap out of him so he can stop doing these horrible things that he know are wrong. And his name also is kind of cool. The Riddler is Enigma. That can't be a coincidence, right? I forget his original name. I know it's not originally Edward Nigma. It's Edward something, and then he changes it to Edward Nigma. I forget what it is at this moment, though. So that's kind of cool. Maybe some other time we'll talk about nihilism again. But I think nihilism is a very easy topic to find somewhere. So there's that. I think philosophy is very interesting because it forces us to grapple with concepts that we're not comfortable with, like morality or God or that kind of stuff. It forces us to think about these things that we don't like thinking about. If someone asks you about God, you probably get uncomfortable. Even if you don't believe him, you probably get uncomfortable. But what philosophy does is forces you to grapple with this. It forces you to look at the evidence for everything and not just dismiss it because... So, one of my favorite philosophers, Soren Kierkegaard, he's a theist, but he's also one of the founding fathers of existentialism, which is a movement that started before World War I, but really started getting steam after World War I and World War II. And so I find some of his arguments compelling. because he recognizes that there's not much evidence for God. But what he says is to take the leap of faith. You have to, you can't believe in God. You have to have faith, because belief can be grounded in reason and rationality. And God, there's no reason or rationality that can prove the existence of God. So you have to have faith. And I think that's very interesting, because it's a theist recognizing there's no evidence that God exists, but then saying, we can believe in some things without evidence, which I don't agree with, really. I think you should have evidence for all your beliefs, but at the same time, I think the leap of faith is an interesting concept. You should definitely check it out, because just talking about it, you won't really understand it. You have to apply it to something you can then look back on and say, oh yeah, I get it now. I see the correlation. So yeah, there's that. So this week's surprise channel promotion is Crash Course. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They teach lots of stuff. They teach history and economics and psychology and philosophy and history and science and biology and astronomy. It's crazy. So I'm gonna try and start getting a regular upload schedule. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I won't. I don't know. It's whatever. Whatever. So I'm gonna turn my camera off here. Oh, quick opinion poll. So do you guys like edited videos or not edited videos? Because we have both. Like the last one was not edited. I just put it up. But a lot of videos I send to Arturo and he edits them. But sometimes it's like hard. So I wanna get some feedback. Do you guys like edited videos, non-edited videos? Are you in like a gray area where you like editing in some situations? I don't know. Whatever. It's cool. So I'm gonna